I'm Gareth Marin, delighted to be joined by women's under 19s head coach Dave Connell. Dave, a good year for you overall, getting through to the next round, but I suppose you had to wait your time, didn't you, with COVID, just like everybody else, to finally get started.
Yeah, well, we're glad to get back in June with the two games against Northern Ireland. That was great. It was a great feeling. We hadn't been back since February 2020. And obviously we felt very, very disappointed for the 202s girls who missed out on more or less a full season. Some of them a full season, some of a half season. So that was unfortunate. But I suppose with everything that was going on, we came to accept that, and obviously that was just the same for everybody all over the world, or and in particular Europe. So um, yeah, it was great to be back, and as you say, yeah, we were very very happy to get to the next phase in a difficult group.
How was that for you as a coach, being able to not prepare, I suppose, like that? It must have been the longest period of time that you were away from the pitch, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it was a whole different ball game to us now. Um, Excuse the pun, but certainly, yeah, it was a lot different. A lot of Zoom calls, a lot of team calls. Um, but listen, you have to start thinking outside the box, and a lot of that preparation was great for us. But obviously, everybody knows there's nothing like being on the pitch and actually getting your work done on the pitch. So yeah, it was different. It wasn't ideal, but we certainly we were probably doing what most other countries and certainly most other associations were doing as well. But yeah, it was different. But yeah, it was probably obviously more difficult for the players because they wanted to get out. But on the coaching side, yeah, it was frustrating.
Yeah, obviously you mentioned the Northern Ireland games, two games against Northern Ireland, and then you were able to go to Portugal for a couple of games as well. Um, Working together with a new squad, it must be obviously there's nerves from the players, I suppose, trying to impress and trying to get into the squad and be noticed and stuff like that. But from your point of view and the staff point of view, you're trying to identify players who are going to be ready for when the qualifiers do come as well.
Yeah, because we missed out, as I say, the 202s, but the under 17s had missed out the previous in 2020 as well, which meant there wasn't an awful lot of international football. And then we all know the big jump then between 17s and 19s is massive. So we had girls coming in who wouldn't have been familiar with 19s at all because obviously James with the 17s was originally hosting in the February in 2020 and had a good chance maybe of qualifying. So we didn't take any of the 17s into the 19s, which we probably would have done previous seasons, so just to give the 17s the best opportunity of qualifying for the finals. But that was cancelled as well, so there was a big void there. So it was getting the girls up to speed with the under 19s. The Northern Ireland games and the three games in Portugal were ideal for that, and I just think we were just right coming into the tournament in October, um, and we gave it a good shot, but we weren't quite there.
So you did have home advantage in playing the games down in Limerick, which you had some good crowds down there. Games on streamed live as well on LOITV. So there was a lot of attention around it, and you say we weren't quite there. But if anybody remembers to watch the games or watch the games back, like they were very close. The games.
Yeah, and that's the encouraging thing. If you can take anything positive out of it, that was the positives. We were very, very disappointed in losing the two games to England and Switzerland, which says a lot because obviously those two teams are top seeds. So we ran them very close. We weren't quite there. We know the areas where we need to improve on, and areas that that we're fairly decent on, but we just need to keep improving all that. Those little 1-2% that can make us a better team. But we're very very close, which is good. And we'll take a lot of confidence from those performances in October down in Limerick. And yet, the crowds were brilliant. The streaming was great, and it got a lot of attention, which was great for the girls. So and as I say, we can take an awful lot of positives into the next phase.
I suppose you mentioned the gap between the 17s and the 19s, and the gap between the 19s and the seniors can be massive again. Another joint leap. You have had some of the players in your squad already make that transition, certainly by earning call-ups. And in terms of, obviously, Ellen Malloy's been capped at senior level already, but Evan Clancy and Jesse Stapleton both were call-ups as well this year. A huge positive, and that's obviously what you want ultimately for them to go. But for you, trying to keep as many players as possible to kind of stay competitive and keep players in their toes.
Yeah, like it's really the under 19s is all about trying to develop players for the senior squad. So if players are called up and they're going to be used, that's fine. We don't have a problem with that with the under 19s, because that's obviously where the girls want to play. They want to play at the highest level. When I'm sure when they start playing football, that's their aim, that's their goal. And when they do that, that's brilliant for them. Yeah, we obviously would like the best players in our squad if we can get them. But listen, the senior team has priority on that, and I'm 10 years doing the job, and I fully understand that, and I've never had a problem with that. I think all players should be aiming to play at the highest level that they should, and when they get into the senior squad, I'm not but delighted for them. And we can always call on players that are playing within the women's national league, and sometimes players from abroad, whatever the case may be. So we've a good squad here, and there's good squads coming up behind, and there's good players coming up behind as well. But the experience that the girls can get from being in around senior players is priceless, and it was that I can look back on my own career as a young boy going into clubs, and the experience being around experienced players at that time for me was sometimes daunting, but certainly I think it really helped me develop as a footballer, and it's how you approach it and how you get on with it, and the players seem to have done very, very well. That the players that you mentioned, and I'm sure that they do have a bright future ahead of them. Hopefully they do, and obviously a few more. But I think that kind of experience is priceless, and I fully support that.
And you go again now, April 2022.
Yeah, a tough group. We're off to Czech Republic. We've Czech Republic, France, and Greece. So yeah, tough enough. So we look forward to it. We have Czech Republic first, then France, and then we finish with Greece. So we know what we're about. We've already got some footage on all the three teams. So we're the backroom team and myself are looking at that at the moment, and actually just looking at the best way we can go about getting at these games. Obviously, Czech Republic will be hosting the finals as well, so that's an interesting scenario. But I'm sure they'll have players that will want to make that squad for the finals. And then we France, who were multiple winners, and are always thereabouts, usually in and around the semi-finals. So it's a tall order, but it's one that we feel that we can achieve something.
But I wish you the best of luck next year. Obviously, a positive year this year. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Gareth.